Hello, everyone. This is Jimmy Cultist back again with another logic video, and today we're going to be addressing how to make persistent health that carries over from scene to scene. Now, first of all, I'm going to cover something real quick before we get down to that, which is we're going to need doorways in order to travel from scene to scene. So I've set up this microchip with a trigger zone, a square trigger zone, set to detect a label. The label in question is friend, which if you want to, access this menu, it's L1 and square to do so. And L1 and square will allow us to access our puppet, although he's inside a group, so you'll have to scope in once with L1 and X in this case. But if he's not in a group, it's just L1 and square. Go over here, set him to friend or whatever label you prefer. And we're going to set the doorway, which you could find in gameplay gear, to a two-way doorway. That means you can go through it and you can return from it, as opposed to simply being an entrance, which you can only enter through, and an exit, which you can only leave through. Basically, think of it like those games where you go to another level, there's a loading screen, then you pop into the other level, and then you can backtrack and go back here. And I've also added a transition, a dissolve style transition, where it turns black. But it's important to know that a two-way doorway will not work unless you go into the puppet's logic and label his controller sensor something other than the base. Usually it's this, it just says controller sensor, but you want to relabel it to something like 1 or player, just in case I also do it with the puppet logic microchip, but it's not really necessary. Just do it with the controller sensor. I don't know exactly why this is necessary, but it sure burned me up in the early days of Dreams whenever I tried to use a two-way doorway, and it didn't function as it was supposed to just because of this, not renaming the controller sensor, so be sure you do that. Now let's get to the actual subject, which is, how do we make that persistent health? Well, first, inside the group, I have a small piece of material which is invisible and non-collidable. On it is a microchip which hosts all my variables, the ones I don't want to reset upon death. Although we might reset this one, which is our HP variable. I've set it to a maximum of 9. And I've set the initial value to 9. And I've connected the current value from our HP variable to a wireless transmitter, which you can find here in Sensors and Input. It looks like this. And it's called HP as well. And I've connected it to signal to receiver as the input. Now we're going to go over here to where our health manager is, which manages all of our HP. We did another video on how to display things in a health bar, but today we're going to be doing, something a bit different. And you'll notice that our health manager is actually completely empty. We have a maximum level of 9, but the current health is actually 0. And that's actually a part of the process. Here we have a wireless receiver called HP. At least it's set to detect a transmitter called HP. And I've set the size of the zone to in scene, meaning that no matter where this is triggered, it will operate properly. I also have a timeline set to play once, and I've hooked up the signal from the transmitter to this health manager's modification amount. So basically, this variable will be sending out a signal to this transmitter, and that will be input into this health manager, which will fill up our health bar. And it's got a tiny zone. It's set to heal everything, but you probably want to just set it so it only heals a friend. And as long as you're inside this zone, which because it's mounted to the player, it's not going to go anywhere. It's always going to be on top of him. He will be healed by the amount in the variable. I also have this little action recorder which temporarily shuts off our HP display. And the reason why I do that is it helps these calculators and things work properly, which I demonstrated in a previous video how they work. But it's good to have them shut off until the point where the health manager has been filled. Another thing I should mention is that since normally when your HP is at 0 you would die, you're going to have a system by which that is limited. So the no health output would normally go straight to die, but instead I've connected it to a node which I've connected to die, and I've taken a counter and taken the counter full output and hooked it up to the power of the node, which you can access by pressing L1 and square if you're interested. And I've also hooked up the currently modifying output of our health modifier to the increase count input on the counter. So this will make it so that once we've officially filled up our bar, then we're capable of dying and not before. Otherwise we just spawn in and instantly die. But that's pretty much how you make it. Now we're going to go ahead and play it through to see it in action. As you can see, we've set our maximum HP. Oh, one other thing I should mention is that when you die, you probably will want a variable modifier, which looks like this. And we'll set the operation name to HP. But all we're going to do is reset the value. We'll make it 9, so that when you die, it'll reset back to the beginning. At least it'll reset this this here. Now we're going to go ahead and kill our character just to see this process unfold. I'm going to put out a health modifier, turn on the zone, set it to continuous, and we'll make it about 10 HP. It should drain fairly quickly. And we're going to watch his health bar go down. Alright, there he goes. He died. He respawned, and the value is back to 9 instead of being at 0, which is what it normally would be. So yeah, having that little HP modifier, you could set it to play once on a timeline for when you die. Just keep that in mind. But we're going to go ahead and not save changes because I want to test how this works in an actual level. You can make a dream by going to Start Creating and then just tapping on the dream shape option or a new dream option. Then just stick your levels in the scene. Connect the two-way doorways and press save, of course, but we're not going to do that because we've already done it. Now let's just go ahead and scope in. Let's see if we are going to lose some health from the enemy. Alright, so we lost 1 heart. Now let's go through the doorway. New location, still 1 heart missing. So, the system works. I hope you found this helpful for any sort of game you might be making. It works with any health system. Even if you were using a different method to display the HP value, it would still be the same. Thanks for watching! Hopefully this was an insightful video or otherwise enjoyable. If it was, then go ahead and subscribe if you can, and hit the bell to keep up with our videos. Also, subscribed or not, give a like. If you have any questions or statements, leave a comment. We try to answer all comments. If you like what we do here and want to help out, consider becoming a channel member. Alternatively, you can check out the link in the description to support us through Patreon. Until next time, take it easy. That's all for now.